Here are 10 tips and tricks to help get you started with Grounded. Research everything. Most things that you pick up in Grounded can be analysed. There is a way to check if you haven't analysed something before. Open your inventory and highlight the item. If you look here, you can see it's unanalyzed. You can also see in the inventory space a symbol with an exclamation mark. This is also an indication that the item hasn't yet been analysed. To analyse something, you will need to take it to a field station, which are dotted around the map. They will show up on your scab when you're close to one. Now the field station contains three things: an analyzer, an ASL computer, and a scanner. Use the analyzer to help unlock new items from the things you've picked up whilst exploring. The more you analyze, the more you unlock. It's well worth your time. A tip for fresh players: make the canteen once you discover it. You'll thank me later. Get those chips. I'm not talking about the super chips, I'm talking about the auxiliary chips. These allow you to buy more recipes from the science shop on the ASL computer after you give the chip to Burgle, of course. The type of unlocks you get are dependent on the area that you got the chip from, so think about what area you want to go and explore, as you'll most likely get a chip that grants you things from that area. When you hand the chips into Burgle, you'll also get a reward of raw science, so you can purchase extra things from the ASL computer immediately. The auxiliary chips are shown on the map with the following symbol. Be sure to put a waypoint on these whenever you're near them, as they are invaluable for new recipes, which will allow you to be more creative with the game. Inventory. One thing to always consider before going out exploring is the amount of inventory space that you have and what you need to take with you. For example, if I'm going to go out and I'm going to try and collect a load of mite fuzz and thistle needles, there is no point in me taking all the plant fiber, hammer, axe, smoothies, hundreds of arrows, or anything that will clog up my inventory other than what I specifically need to do the task. This leads me onto another part of inventory management. Whenever you leave your base, go out with an intended goal. As I've just said, if you're going to go out with the means to make stuff for arrows, make sure you do that. The game offers a lot of side distractions, and you can easily get carried away with something else and not have the right stuff in your inventory to do that task. So it's always important to go out and commit to the thing that you actually want to do. If you know you're going to do one of the labs, then you'll need to take a lot of stuff with you, as you're more likely to run into more dangerous enemies or bosses during the labs. But don't get sidetracked on the way and fill up the remaining spaces of your inventory with stuff you don't need right then, as you may pick up stuff in the lab that is new and more important than the stuff you find on your way. Mutations, mutations, mutations. As you progress through the game, you will naturally unlock different mutations. These are in the Mutations tab in the main menu. Different mutations do different things. I'll go over one of the mutations, Sharpshooter, which is obtained through using a bow or crossbow. It increases the critical hit chance whilst using a ranged weapon. Now you can unlock this mutation by killing things with the bow or crossbow, but there is more to it than just unlocking it. Some mutations have different phases. Sticking with the Sharpshooter mutation, this has 3. Each phase will give you an increase in the chance of the critical hit landing. Now there are 41 of them to unlock in Grounded, and there are many ways to do that, through using certain weapon types to kill enemies, buying them at the ASL computer. They really do give you a boost, so it's well worth your time going out and exploring, seeing what you can unlock. Check for teeth. Whilst out and about exploring, you'll come across milk molars. When you have a high enough level hammer, smash every single one you see, especially the mega molars. Collect enough and you can use them to add an extra upgrade to your character. You can increase your resource stack size, number of active mutations, amount of health, and the amount that you are healed by bandages on smoothies. There is a number of diverse ways you can play it. You can dump everything into one specific upgrade or spread them evenly. I personally like to increase the resource stack size, as most of the game is spent exploring. By increasing the amount of plant fiber you can stack, frees up more space in your inventory to collect new and better things. The mega milk molars are mega for a reason, and there are 45 of them and 74 of the regular ones, so the chances of coming across them are pretty high. One thing to note though, the more you spend, the more it costs for the next upgrade, so do keep that in mind when deciding what you want to level up. Bases. Now, I'm not going to say build bases this way or that way, because there isn't a right or wrong way. You should build however you want to. But here's a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, don't build too big too quick. I know this one from personal experience. When you lay out your base early on, it's easy to get carried away with building something big and extravagant, but as you progress through the game, you'll unlock better building materials. I found that if you start small and then each time you discover a new material, you can then expand your base. It feels a bit more manageable rather than tearing everything down every few days. Number two, if you want free food, put spike strips outside your base. Now this is a two-pronged win. One, aphids and weevils are likely to run into the strips outside your bases and they'll die straight away. This gives you some free food to cook on the roasting spit, and having spike strips will also deal damage to any unwanted guests like spiders or lava, giving you more time to grab your weapon and fend them off. They'll also help to protect your base's structure. If you put them in front of foundations or walls, the enemies will run into them first and it could potentially save you a big rebuild job. The smithing station. Using this is the key to get you into higher level areas whilst you still have lower tiered items. Every chance you get, I'd recommend upgrading a weapon or armor. You can increase the damage and durability of your weapons, or for armor, you can increase the defense and durability. There are a lot of levels to increase on both weapons and armor, so you'll definitely need a lot of whetstone and plating. You can get whetstone and plating from different types of quartzite and marble. They each have different levels, so you'll only be able to destroy them based on your tier leveled hammer. What I mean by this is if you have a level 1 hammer, you'll only be able to destroy level 1 brittle quartzite. An example of where this is good is if you have level 2 tier weapons and armor and you're trying to get the stuff you need to craft level 3. In order to do this, you'll have to venture into the higher level places. If you've upgraded your weapons and armor at the smithing station, you'll stand a much better chance of being able to kill the higher level enemies that will drop the things you need, compared to going in without any upgrades and just the base level 2 items and really struggling. Utilize both the night and day. There are different enemies that come out at night compared to enemies that come out during the day, and you can use this to your advantage. Wolf spiders tend to come out at night and can be quite dangerous, but during the day they tend to sleep, which means you could prepare an attack during the day where you'll have the upper hand. A quick tip on this, utilize the peeping function the game offers you, as you can find out the strengths and weaknesses of each enemy before committing to a fight. This way you can ensure you have the right weapons and armor for the right enemy. At night, wolf spiders are wandering around, and if you accidentally run into it, you're going to be less prepared than you would be if you utilize the day to your advantage. Nighttime is the only time fireflies will come out. Now you can use firefly parts for several types of crafting, but they are usually surrounded by other types of enemies that will attack you on sight, so be careful before heading off to fight the fireflies. So be sure to check out every minute of every day so you're not missing out on anything that could be an upgrade or allows you to craft something better. Know your armor and weapon types. Now this is a big one, as armor can add different effects to your character. For example, if you make a might hat, as you can see, it's medium armor, but you also gain something called hyper stamina. Another is the acorn chestplate. This is heavy armor and gives you major threat. Major threat increases an enemy's desire to attack you over other targets. So if you're playing co-op, then one of you could equip this and tank the enemy whilst the other stands back and shoots arrows. There is a lot of armor in the game that does so many different things, so be sure to explore each one and select the best for you. It's worth remembering that there is nothing stopping you from mixing and matching armor as well to give you an even bigger boost. Another quick tip here, use the aphid slippers to run faster. It makes for getting across the map 10 times easier. It's the same for weapons too. Different weapons will do different types of damage. Spear for stabbing, hammer for smashing, axe for chopping, and that's just a really basic overview. Analyzing more things will allow you to create better weapons with better effects. As I mentioned earlier, research everything. Don't rush. If there's one tip that I could give that would beat all of the other tips, it would be to not rush this game. This game is meant to be enjoyed slowly and without rushing through the story, which is really good by the way. There's just more to it than doing the super chips and trying to get through to the end. I've been playing this game for a few weeks now and I still haven't discovered all the mutations and I still haven't visited every area of the map. You can spend so much time just building your base or bases. That's another quick tip. I'd say you should have more than one base base. If you have multiple bases on different parts of the map, it'll be a lot easier for you to collect resources and store them at one base before moving them over to the main one. There are so many little crevices that you can go in with this game. There's underground tunnels to explore, the pond, there are even areas above the ground level that you start on which are so much to offer in terms of higher level items and enemies. The list goes on and on with this game, so the one thing not to do is to just try and get to the end. There is even a New Game Plus that I haven't made it to yet, but I will definitely be checking it out. And finally, if you do have the luxury to be able to play with other people, this takes the game to a whole new level, as the more the merrier saying really fits with this one. I hope these tips will help you to find your feet and grounded. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.